Hello friends, welcome back. This is full stack development video series and we are building online course enrollment application, and this is episode 12. In this video, I'm going to show you how to configure the CI/CD pipeline for your Angular 18 application, and we'll be using Azure DevOps as our source code and the deployment strategy. So this will be very useful as a developer. It's good to know about the DevOps concepts. So without delay, come let's get started. So I have logged into the portal to show you what we did in the previous video. So we have, I'm going to browse all of my resource and go to the particular resource group, which is online course RG. If you're following my video, you'll know what I'm talking about. So we have these resources we created, and last video we saw CI/CD for the .NET Core application. So this one, the one that you're seeing, is our Angular application. So we are going to do the CI/CD pipeline in our Azure DevOps. So log into dev.azure.com. So before we go ahead and do it, right, there are a few changes that you need to do in the Angular application, right? So what we are going to do is we have to go and do some modification. Go to the package.json and I added these things. So basically this is the command that we will be using to build the application. And here what it is doing is we have two environments. One is production and the regular one, the dev environment. So all what we are doing is for environment.prod.ts, all the production related configuration will be there, and then there is one file called web.config. I added this file will support us for the routing mechanism. If you directly hit a URL, that is what will help us to redirect. Okay, now go to the angular.json and you have to say that, hey, when you build, copy this web.config file also. That is what we are putting into the asset. We need this file to be in the deployed content, like the built content. Now go back to pipelines, click on new pipeline. So we have, once you choose this, right, you have an option of selecting which repository, like which is the source code. For here, we are going to choose the YAML file, the first one, which is Azure DevOps, and I'm going to choose the project, which is Angular. And then you help this one to figure out, okay, this project is Angular with Node. So based on what you choose, this initial setup will come. We're going to modify this so that it is built properly for our Angular application. Now, what we are doing is the first one is says trigger. Based on the main branch code changes, if something got changed to the main branch, trigger it. And then we are saying which VM that is using to build the application. Okay, Ubuntu latest, which is Linux. And then there are a couple of steps. First one is we have to install the node package, like the node.js, right? See, whatever you did for your local environment is what we are going to do there also. So we're saying we need 20 version, install the node. That's called install node.js. And then the second step is installing the Angular CLI. Exactly, we are mimicking this, like we have to do this exactly on the build server also, every time it has to do. So after that, right, the first is Node.js, the second was the CLI. Next, we have to build our project. So I changed the script name to meaningful name, the display name. We're doing the installation of the dependencies. The next one, whatever I'm doing is, if you remember, npm run build prod. Build prod is the script name that's there in the package.json, right? So we are saying run that script. In order to do that, we have to say npm run build prod. It's there in the package.json. You see this line number 10, right? And I also ran that same command in the local C just to show you. If you do that, it will build and generate the file. That is what it is doing. Okay, so now these three steps are done. After the build content is ready, we need to zip it and make as one available file for us to put it as the artifact, and then later in the release pipeline we will be extracting it and putting it into our server. Okay, the one that I've commented now is for running the test cases. So in real time, in applications, in organization, there are projects which will have the test cases also. That's why the script is, but in our case we don't have, so I've disabled it just for the understanding I've put. The last step is the zipping of content and putting into a drop location. So if you see the path to publish, actually disk dash some name, right? So if we go to angular.json, it will have disk / your project name. In our case it is online course, disk / online course. And not only that, there will be another folder called browser. Inside that browser folder only all of these contents are actually built. Okay, you can run this command npm run build prod in your local and see how it is working. So that's why I named it like this: disk slash the name of the project slash the browser. Okay, this is coming from the anchor.json. Now it knows where to take the files and zip it. So that is called the name of this called drop. That's the artifact name. And then the build is good. You can commit this to the main branch, which I did. So the YAML file is ready, which will help us to build the project. Now this is what the build step is. So it will do one by one. It will install node, install CLI, and then build the project, create the content. Everything is good. See, first time I failed because I'm just showing you error. When I ran the first time, actually the code was not available. Whatever I did, right? I missed to merge the code. So the second time I did, it triggered properly, and this time it's going to be successful, because as long as you have the build prod script in your package.json, whatever we have it on our YAML file will work. Okay, now this is what the content. See, under the drop you have all of these contents including web.config. So this is what we now have to deploy to the server. So now we know our artifact has all of these content that is supposed to be delivered to the website, right? So we have it. So now let's go to release, click on new release pipeline. And whatever you see now, this is the starting place. You need to first choose where you have to deploy. In our case, this is Azure App Service. I selected it. Give a meaningful name. I'm going to give as online course CD pipeline. Like, it's basically a web application, so I'm just giving a meaningful name. So online course web and CD pipeline. Okay, you can name however you want. Now the first thing is the artifact. So click on add an artifact. Here it will list down the project and then the build pipelines. So build pipeline, in our case we have to choose the UI content. So that's why online course UI build. So basically you're selecting the build content that only will have artifacts. Click on this button and then click on enable. So basically this is for the continuous deployment. Whenever new build is ready, this, if you enable, automatic release will be created. Stage is nothing but the environment. See here we have only one, that's why it is production. Let's go and click on the production one and then first configure it. Okay, so here you have to choose the Azure subscription. So we are going to deal with the available Azure service connection. So we need to establish the service connection between this Azure DevOps and the Azure portal. So I already have this kind of service connection set up for our resource group. However, we will do it from first, but basically that I set up based on the previous video for the .NET Core. Now if you go to this project, right, your organization, and then tutorial is the project, under settings, under service connection, you will see a list of service connection. So service connection and service principal identity, like service principal, all of those concepts, I have it in a video. I'll give it you in the description. You go take a look. First, let's create a new one. Choose Azure Resource Manager, and then you choose service principal automatic. Okay, what this will do is it will allow us to create a token based one. So here first it will prompt you to log into your Azure portal. The reason, because this DevOps, right, whatever you logged in, it may or may not be the same for your Azure portal. That's why it is asking you to log in. In my case both are same, so I logged in. Now the resource group will be listed based on the subscription. I chose the online course RG, and then I'm gonna name a meaningful name. The reason you have to have some name is, when you read that name, you know what connection this is all about. So this name, if you look at this, what I'm doing is online course resource group service connection, means the resource group related to the online course, like online course resource group, all of those resources you can use. Click on grant permission for all the pipelines, which means any pipeline that uses the service connection should be able to talk to the resources in the group. And it is setting up the connection. Once the connection is ready, let's go back to the place where we were trying to set up. Do a refresh here, and the one that you choose will be listed here. It will list down the one which I chose previously as well as the new one. Let's go and choose the one that we just created. So I chose that, and then you need to choose the app type. It could be a Windows or a Linux. See, if you have created a Linux web app, then you have to choose Linux. See, if I choose Linux, nothing will be showed. The reason because I do not have any Linux web app created under that resource group. But if I choose web app as Windows, I have two applications, like two web apps created. One is for .NET Core, one is for the Angular. So both will be listed. You need to make sure you choose the right one. So I'm going to choose the second one, that is for me, for meant for the web application. So we are so far good. Everything looks good. Now the last one is, if you click on this deployment service, you need to select the package. Click on this hamburger symbol. It will ask you to choose which one. You see this under the drop, all of this content is there. Just select OK. Okay, looks good, and everything looks good. We don't need to do anything else. Run on agent is all namings. So what I'm going to do now, okay, so here there's something called pre-deployment and post-deployment trigger. So basically, before automatically the release pipeline has been deployed to the version, you can choose to have pre-deployment approval. In the previous video, I did not do. That is one of the example that if you don't want to do, you don't need to do it. But if you choose this and then choose the approver, so basically I'm going to choose myself as approver, but in a real world, managers or the team lead or those kind of people will be there. So I will choose that appropriate name and then say okay. So what will happen is, it will not automatically deploy. Every time it will send an email, you need to come and approve it here. Okay, that's what it is. So I'll show you that how you need to approve it. So I'm gonna do this trigger. You can also choose post deployment, but we do not have many stages like dev, QA, stage, production, so we don't need to have the post deployment. However, I have a similar video where I deploy this Angular application to 4 different servers, right? So I will give you that also in the description. Take a look. Let's save this under a folder so that we create many release pipelines for the same project for different environment. It will be under that folder. It's only for organizing, nothing else. Okay, so everything looks good. The first time we can either create a release or we can trigger a build which will automatically create a release. So just for the first time, let's create a release and the release will kick in. You can click on the release and see how the jobs are happening. Because we did the pre-approval step, see, first time it will ask you to deploy and then see the approval come. The approval button will come only because of the pre-deployment approval strategy. We did it, right? That's right. You need to approve it. Once you approve it, you can go to the logs and you can see it will download the artifacts, open up the connection. So you can see it will download the artifacts, open up the connection and then deploy it. So let's go. Let's wait for a few seconds. See, it is doing whatever I just described. It's downloading all the facts and it is connecting to the app servers and it is going to deploy the package. That's what it will do. It will be pretty quick. See, it's updating the app servers, successfully updated the app servers. So done, right? So let's go and click on this one to see whether it works. Okay, crazy, it's deployed and we got an error. Great, the code is deployed, right? This is basically what happened is in Angular, instead of pointing to the production URL, it is pointing to the localhost URL. That's why it is not able to connect. I will tell you what was wrong in our configuration. So if we go to this angular.json, we have this environment.json, environment.ts and environment.prod.ts, right? You need to specify in this place under the configuration that, hey, when a production build is triggered, replace the dev.ts with the dev.prod.ts. This one, file replacement. So this one we forgot to do it, so it did not replace. Instead, it just built with the content that is present in the environment.ts, which is pointing to the local environment. So I'm gonna do check-in of this code. What this will do is, after this I need to actually approve it and merge it to the main branch. Okay, once the code is in the main branch, the build pipeline, release pipeline, everything is going to get triggered. So let's go quickly. I'll show you how I prove it. My own code, it didn't trigger it, right? So because I was explaining, I did not do it. So let's go to this UI code. Let's go to this pull request. See, it's already there that there is some new code. Okay, so I'm going to create. I approve by my own code. That's very fancy. All right, you approve your own code. No, nowhere it happens except your own project. Anyway, so see, the moment I merge the code into the main branch, it triggers the build. And let's fast forward. Build is done. Release pipeline is also triggered. Only thing is we need to approve. If you have not set up this pre-approval, it would have deployed by now. So I'm going to refresh it. It's deployed already, and it is really calling the web API that we deployed in the previous video. So .NET Core Web API also was deployed to Azure, and you can see it is actually calling that endpoint. So let me click something and show you what it is going. See, it is calling the actual deployed version of the endpoint, right? So we were able to deploy both applications so far to the production. Now what will happen, right? Going forward, any code that I check in, it will get automatically deployed to this so that you guys can see the live changes as we progress with many episodes. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and you're gonna see all of these things, much more stuff that we will do in this full stack development. If you have liked this video so far, give me a thumbs up, put your comments in the comment section, share this with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next Azure AD B2C interesting video. I'll show you so many stuff this time. Alright, bye bye. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more tech tutorials. And don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Happy coding!